I decided to sell the business. I've sold it. And then a friend of mine was bringing in skiwear from overseas. So he approached me, says, come with me, we'll be partners. So I went with him and we did a partnership and we did all right. For about 8 years, the business was running beautiful. And then we started giving people and we had cash galore. People used to come in every week and spend $3,000 or $4,000. It was already dollars, $3,000 or $4,000 they paid cash. It was good. Then one day, two guys came along. They said, one from Sydney, one from Melbourne. I said, they're having a big sale. Have we got any stock? And we had plenty of stock. So we gave the boy from Melbourne, we gave him for about $45,000 to $50,000 worth of stock. 2 weeks after, we received a letter from the receivers who went bankrupt. So we've lost the money there. And then we had another guy in Sydney who went bankrupt on us for about $20,000. So we lost within 1 year, we lost about $70,000 in the business. And we said, oh, things are going bad. I don't know what we're going to do. So he said, no, well, we'll try. We're not going to give anybody, we're going to give them credit, but only got to pay within the 30 days. If they're not paid in 30 days, we stop delivering, giving them goods. And everybody paid goods. And those two guys, one of the guys, the Melbourne guy, his father was a builder. He was building a lot. Oh. And he came to me and said, Shaya, give my son as much as he wants. He gave me his hand. And he says, I'll guarantee for him. So if a father comes and says to him, which I knew him well, and I went to him and said, Itcher, what happened with your son? He went bankrupt. I said, you gave me the hand, you guaranteed for him. I said, no, what about giving me back a bit of money? He says, that's a boinische item. Then went on, it was good, till about 1989. In 1999, we decided we're going to split up. I split up with my partner, and I went my way, and he was his way, in his way. And I employed a Hungarian lady. She was working at the Herzog Club. And she was a very good worker. And I said, she's going to be a good worker for me. And I was running the business, and she was running it too. But she was making more money than I did. Money came in, I used to go out there, you know, to customers, and she used to sell it in increments. She had their warehouse. She used to sell it and got cash from the people, and she took the money. One day I decided, I said, I'm going to test her. So what was the test? I asked two boys with two women, a friend of mine, go in there and buy, I gave them, I think, $500 or something. I said, go in there, buy $500 worth of goods, and 2 days after you're going to come back. We're not happy with that, we want our money back. So she was serving them, and she took the money. After 2 days they came back, and I says, Kizzy, what did you do? Where's the money? Well, she said, I put it in the drawer. I said, no, this money is not there. I said, come on, you're finished with me. And I kicked her out in the business. And her husband came, he wanted to bash me up. I said, look, you better leave it, otherwise I get the police and you're going to be in trouble. So he left, and that was it. And I went bankrupt. I went on my own and I went bankrupt. That was in 1989. And that's how I lost everything. And Rosie was still working, and she supported me.
So what, Rosie was an FBI, right?
Rosie was no, it was not FBI then, it was Balaclava International Travel.
When did that start?
She was, they were in Acton Street next to Greek. She was there with her brother, and they had people working, and then Mark was in Israel. when they came back from Israel, they took him into the business. And that business started growing and growing and growing. Then they rented a place in Balaclava Road next to the Herzog Club, a bigger place there, which they had about 20 people working for them. They were growing like anything. And my brother was a very good businessman. He had what's the name? All the petrol dealers. He had like Atlanta, and he had Coltex, Neptune. He had all the directors in his pocket there because he used to take them out for lunches and get them drunk, and they all were traveling through him. And the business started growing and growing and growing. Then my brother says, Rosie, the business is growing enough. I've got enough of it, because he was well off. He was very well off. And he decided he goes out of the business, and he says, you can run the business with Mark, and you do see what you can do. So they were running the business for about 5 years. And then Rosie started getting a bit tired and got sick. And she decided she wants to retire, so Mark got himself a partner, which got Willie Best. And they decided they got together, and they were working good. Until today, I mean, they bought the building in Kuyong Road, and they were very happy. And I was happy too for them. And the 65 of us, we came to Australia, which there were only 45 in Melbourne and 20 were in Sydney. But the 45, I formed a committee. I asked a few people that we're going to have a committee. It was Max Silberman, Max Rose, Henry Salter, Joe Schwarzbeck, Jacko Newkowski, and myself.
These are all Buchenwald boys.
All Buchenwald boys. We made a committee, and every year we made a ball. We started after having the balls in 1950, I think we started it all. Or 51, something like that. When we came and we got together. And then we had, every year, we had a ball in different places. Some of them at Meisner-Lac, some of them in Chapel Street, and some of them in Ackland Street, and some of them in the town halls, all over the places. But the real group really started in 1956. In 1956, we really were strong, and we did everything we could. We started working for Israel. We started working for the Jewish welfare, because we wanted to pay them back, because they brought us to Australia. We wanted to pay them back. So we organized that every year we had an appeal. One for the Jewish Welfare Relief Society, which is now Jewish Care, and one for Israel. And every year we used to raise around about $25,000 for the welfare, and about $40,000 for Israel. This went on till late 1980. Till late 1980, then sort of the group started getting slower, but they were all Landsmannschaft. Every town from Poland had a Landsmannschaft group, and they all sort of disappeared. But the only person that got left is the Buchenwald. Still existed and still exists up to date, which is only about 7 or 8 of us left, but we're still doing whatever possible. We had to have, this year we were going to celebrate our 75th anniversary, but we had to cancel it because of the coronavirus. But hoping that next year we'll do it again, because what we do now is we got the second generation, which are very much involved in it, because I'm getting older and a lot of the boys passed away, so I'm handing it over to the second generation, and they're going to run it from now on.
Hey! Today I am making Hummus Basar. It's one of the easiest dishes to make, and the best part is it looks beautiful at the end. So it's one of those things where it seems like you've put in a lot of effort, but the is not much effort at all. So to start off with, you pretty much need to just empty your pantry, all the spices. So you have cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, whole fennel seeds, chili, onion powder, garlic, cumin seeds. You can use the ground coriander or the whole seeds and bang them up yourself. Fenugreek, cardamom pods, and cloves. So I just chuck it all in here, and then you want to crush it up. So I usually hate it when people say, oh, you just chuck in a bit of this, a bit of that. So I tried to pay attention to how much I was putting in. So I did about 4 cloves, 6 cardamom pods, but then I couldn't really count the fennel seeds or fenugreek, so that you just have to chuck in. The more you make it, you'll figure out for yourself what tastes you like or don't like. So once that's all made, and you can put this in a packet and keep it for another day. What you're going to do is take some onion, chuck it in your pan. Here. And then add some of your spice mix as well. This ended up making a lot, so I'm not using all of it. Let that fry for a little bit. And then once that's had a little bit of time, you're going to add in the meat and mix that all together and let it cook. Alright, so with the meat, I've just fried it quickly. I've used mincemeat tonight. I think I probably should have mentioned it before. I've based this off the Ottolenghi recipe. He makes like a lamb shawarma, so that's pretty much the spice mix that he uses. The first time I made this, I followed what he said and used lamb shoulder. It was delicious, but a very expensive mistake. So mince works just as well, so you don't have to go down the lamb shoulder route. So that's fried up, and what you do now is you can start getting ready to present it. So you want to you pretty much just want to glob your hummus onto a plate. And then I'm just using the soup spoon at the back of it, and you just want to move it around like this. Spread it out. Alright, you don't need to drive yourself crazy like I do, trying to get it perfect. So you've got that over there. The meat's all cooked, so you're just going to take it now, and all you need to do is just heat it on. So I try to pile it up. Don't mind Ellie in the background. Alright, that's that. And then all you need is it's just the flat leaf continental parsley. So you just take that, sprinkle that all over. Then just pomegranate seeds. Sprinkle that on top. And then usually I put flaked almonds as well, but we ran out of those, so we won't be having any. But that's it. It's really quick, it's really easy, and it's yum. So enjoy if you give it a go.
Dear friends,
I'm sorry I can't see you in person. Kathy and I miss you very much, and we look forward to the end of this dreadful virus and when we can be together again in shul. Mendy has asked me to say a few words about Korach, the Parsha for this week. It's a very dramatic story, Korach's attempt to overthrow Moshe as leader, with the entire nation watching curiously, and his grisly end. This story raises questions about inheritance, legitimacy, and leadership. Korach was a great-grandson of Levi. His grandfather, Kahat, was also the grandfather of Moshe and Aaron. According to our sages, the trigger for his rebellion was the appointment over him of his cousin Elitzaphan as chieftain of the Kahatite clan. But Korach was not a lone rebel. His co-conspirators were the Reubenite brothers Datan and Aviram, and 250 unnamed chieftains of the Israelite community. Datan and Aviram were probably also aggrieved over an inheritance. Their patriarch, Reuven, although the eldest of Yaakov's sons, inherited neither the monarchy, which was promised to Yehuda, nor the priesthood, which was awarded to Levi. Nevertheless, it seems that Korach concealed his own agenda when he joined with the Reubenites. The rebels demanded of Moshe and Aaron why they placed themselves above the rest of the community. Behind them, the rebels had rallied the entire people with the populist call that the entire congregation is holy. Korach, who had stood at Sinai, sought to discredit Moshe and Aaron and even disavow the Torah. Clearly, he was focused only on his own ambitions, and in his pursuit of honour, he was prepared to place his followers at great risk. The contrast between his leadership and that of Moshe and Aaron is stark. Twice in this episode, Hashem instructed Moshe and Aaron to stand back so that he could annihilate the entire people. And twice, they acted to save the people. Their leadership, always based on justice, was unselfish, motivated entirely by the welfare of the nation. After the rebels had been obliterated, we received several additional laws which completely undercut Korach's populism. They confirmed Moshe as the prophet and Aaron as high priest, while they allayed the fears that prompted the people to cry, "We are doomed to perish." Indeed, the entire congregation is holy, but anarchy will not be tolerated. What of the inheritance claims? At many critical points, the Torah clearly teaches that inheritance goes to the worthy. Yitzchak over his older brother Ishmael, Yaakov over his older brother Esav, and Yehuda and Levi over their older brother Reuven. So the inheritance claims are completely without merit. Finally, what do we learn from the gruesome fates of Korach and his co-conspirators? There is a parallel. When the waters of the Red Sea returned, they didn't just drown the Egyptians. They closed the road back to Egypt. Likewise, when Korach and his band were swallowed by the earth, it signaled to the Israelites that a rebellion sparked by personal ambition and fueled by falsehood would be totally obliterated. Many thanks to Mendy for asking me to say a few words. Wishing you all Shabbat Shalom and hoping that we'll all be reunited soon.
The yard sites for the upcoming week: Selma Berman for her mother, Charis Levin for her father, and Ian Katz for his aunt. Wish you all long life. The upcoming Jewish birthdays: Debbie Bloom, Joseph Berger, it's his 70th birthday. Stella Berger, Jesse Davis, Harry Grutch, Martin Gerblum, Charis Levin, Daniel Menashe, and Sarah Pincus. Also like to wish a very hearty mazel tov to Slava and Luba Sachakova on the engagement of their daughter Margarita to Daniel Mugelman. Mazel tov. And also a hearty mazel tov to Jason and Limor Bloom on the birth and the bris of a baby boy, and to the grandparents Peter and Sharon Bloom. A hearty mazel tov to you and both of you should have only nachas and happiness and many more simchas in the future. This Thursday night, 7:30, we'll be holding our third episode of Sinai Down Under. This episode is very special because it is dedicated to the Yahrzeit of the Rebbe, which falls out on Thursday. The main feature will be a talk from the renowned Harvard law professor Dr. Alan Dershowitz. He will talk on the case for jury. So please log in to sinaiDownUnder.org.au/live this Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. It is both strange and baffling. In this week's Parsha of Korach, we speak about the test of the staffs that was conducted to show those who contested the authenticity of the appointment of Aaron as the high priest. God instructed Moses to take a staff from each of the 12 tribes. The name of the leader was inscribed on each staff. Aaron's name was inscribed on the staff of the Levite tribe where he came from. They were placed overnight in the Holy of Holies in the tabernacle. The next morning, all the Jews saw that only Aaron's staff blossomed and bore fruit. And this was a display that Aaron was the true high priest. But the question is, what was the purpose of this miracle? What's the symbolism of this miracle? But there's a even larger looming question on this story. This story happened after the revolt of Korach. Korach and his clan made a revolt against Moses, and their main challenge was the appointment of Aaron as high priest. They said everybody is holy. What was his end? Him and his clan were swallowed up by the earth. The 250 priests from the tribe of Reuven that joined him were burnt up in a heavenly fire, and that wasn't all. The next day, people came and complained to Moses that he was killing the people of God. So God sent an epidemic and killed many of those. So there was the swallowing of the earth, there was the burning up from a heavenly fire, there was the epidemic. Wasn't that enough proof to show that Aaron was the chosen priest, high priest from God himself? What was the need of another miracle that the staff, Aaron's staff, should blossom and bear fruit? The answer is that this miracle of staffs wasn't to prove who was the high priest, but why Aaron was designated as the high priest. You may resolve the conflict by using absolute force, but that will only settle the facts on the ground. It will not purge the anger within. God, with the miracle of staffs, needed to show why Aaron was the one designated as the high priest, to also quell the anger within. A staff is a branch severed from a tree. It's dry and lifeless. So if you want to know how to determine who is a high priest, who is an ambassador of God, who is a spiritual leader in a generation, it is the one who is in their presence. Lifeless sticks become gardens. Rods become orchards. It is the one that has the ability to create life out of those who appear lifeless. That is the one who is a true high priest. And that was what God was showing with Aaron's staff blossoming and bearing fruit. In every generation, we have a high priest. We have a spiritual leader. This Thursday is the 3rd of Tammuz, the Yahrzeit of the Rebbe. I need not elaborate on how the Rebbe was the high priest of our generation. He fit this criteria with distinction. However, throughout his life, the Rebbe urged anyone who would hear him, not all of his followers, but anyone who would hear him, that each have to do their part in being a little high priest, to being a Basar of God, to bring life, spiritual life, Torah, the warmth of Yiddishkeit to whoever they can reach. We cannot leave this up only to the official shluchim and leaders. Everyone, every single person can do their little bit in bringing the warmth of Yiddishkeit and of Torah to their surroundings. And when Mashiach will come, we should all be able to show Mashiach the little contribution that we did to bring him. Thank you.